Hello, everybody. I am Meredith. Welcome back to another episode of the Apex F1 podcast. Today, we are going to be talking all things COTA. So we are going to break down the good, the bad, and the ugly. We are excited to do an entire episode to this. It was the 1-year anniversary of the Apex podcast, 6 months of me joining the boys. So a special, special weekend. It deserved its own episode. Josh, how are you today?
I'm doing good, doing good. We got a really rainy, dreary day here in Memphis. Other than that, what else is there to love? We got we're still reminiscing on old COTA. Had a great race this weekend that we got to talk about yesterday. Just looking forward to talking about our experience in Texas.
Paul, how are you today?
Doing wonderful. I love this weather. I love a nice gloomy day. Makes you just want to sit on the couch and watch Netflix all day. But yeah, I'm still coughing things up from Austin, Texas. It tried to kill me, but I'm here surviving, and I can't wait to talk about it, give my insight on what I thought, the good, the bad, and the ugly about it.
Paul's rocking a fresh new haircut. Josh showed up with a fresh haircut yesterday. Paul's got the fresh cut today. I'm getting my haircut Friday.
There you go.
We're so
refreshed.
Okay, well, let's dive right into COTA. I don't know about you guys, but my TikTok feed was filled with people's COTA betrayal list. Like, people were not pleased. So we will get into the good, the bad, the ugly today. Let's start off with my favorite part, food and drink. Let's talk about the food and drink amenities at the track, what you participated in, what you tried, what you liked, what you did not like, and let's just jump right in. I'll start with just the ranch waters. That's my favorite thing about COTA. I love to crush some ranch waters. I don't like drinking beer all day because then I just feel full. So I'm a ranch water girly, and definitely feel like they were the most ice cold beverages that have ever graced my lips. And so I will start that my high on the food and drink category was ranch waters. And that's where I'll start off and kick it over to you boys. What were your thoughts on the food and drink out there?
You can go first, Josh.
So first of all, I didn't like I talked about before we went, I had not looked up at anything, had no expectations. I couldn't have even told you what was being sold at COTA before we went. So I was very happy to see a ranch water, like a seltzer kind of option, because no one wants to sit and drink beer all day in 100 degrees. It's tough to do. The beer gets warm too fast. Like, at least a ranch water, it doesn't have to be ice cold to enjoy it, right? So I did enjoy having an option. I will say I got a little tired of the one flavor of ranch water that was provided there. So one more flavor to kind of break it up and have a little variety would have been great. But at least there was an option that wasn't just a half of a ultra and then a warm half an ultra. So I enjoyed that. There was honestly plenty of locations to buy alcohol, food. We'll get to that, but the dog was wondering.
Hey, everybody pipe down.
Yeah, everybody's getting all riled up already. It's too early in the episode to be getting all riled up, but I was impressed with there's vendors walking around with alcohol. There were plenty of bars set up that had liquor if that's what you wanted. So I was impressed with just the accessibility to, you didn't have to go very far in most places to find you something to eat or drink. So I'll start off with my high being I was more so impressed that you didn't have to go very far to find what you were looking for.
What about you, Paul?
When it comes to drinks, it's what I expected. A different variety of seltzers would have been nice. Definitely the ranch waters felt good. Much like Josh was saying, you don't want to drink beer all day because those are some long, brutal, hot days, and there's a lot of walking, and we all know beer makes you feel bloated and stuff. And granted, most of it was light beer, so it's not terrible. But I'm not one to want to drink beer all day, every day. I did like that there was, from what I saw, and other people had different points of view that I've noticed on the internet. Everywhere we went, there were sufficient places to fill up your own water bottle. I know Josh took advantage of that, which was good. When it comes to food, now granted, I will say food wasn't our first priority. Throughout while we were there, we were focused on other stuff. I think it left something to be desired. The food, I tried to get a little bit of everything, and I was just left disappointed. Some of the food was bland, long lines. Some of the venues would lose your order and you'd have to wait 45 minutes for something. I don't know. Just the food itself was it completely missed the mark, especially with how much money they were selling it for, how much money we spent on those tickets. It's the thing I looked forward to the most was the was the Uncrustable that were in the cooler in the car when we got out. That
We always pack Uncrustables because when you leave the saltiness, I think it's the saltiness of the peanut butter when you're getting out of there. They've been sitting in the cooler waiting. They save you.
and it yes, but also it's a little sad that the most exciting thing was the Uncrustable towards the end. And granted, if you're there for food, maybe you're there for the wrong reasons. However, you are there for so long that inevitably you're going to get hungry. And
Right.
I was just left disappointed with the food options. Drinks were great, no complaints there, but just the food was, could have been better.
So Josh
Yeah.
also had a very bad food experience on Saturday. So let's get into it, Josh.
Yeah, so I'll start this off by saying, like, having thought about it and kind of, pondered my experience on Saturday, I will say that and with Sunday being kind of what brought me back to level ground, I realized that there are two categories of food options here, right? There are food trucks, and then there are like businesses that are intense, that are like restaurant based, that are now in like a mobile setting, right? Definitely the food trucks tended to be more efficient and be more prepared, and probably I think the food was much better out of the food trucks than the standalone. So it seems like because their business is mobile and they're used to being set up and doing events or whatever have you. So it seemed like they fared quite a bit better. I had a pretty bad experience on Saturday I guess it was in between the sprint race and qualifying. Long stretch, so everybody was trying to get food. So I will not say much about the lines. I know Joe had a problem with where he went. He got stuck at a place that their computer system crashed and went down, and there was some issues getting people their orders, but I didn't have that personal experience, so I can't speak to that one. But what I did have was some extremely subpar chicken tenders. And, I was just hoping to grab some quick chicken tenders. They looked decent when everybody was walking by with them.
They
So I'm
really
like,
did look
yeah, they looked
good.
great. Yeah, I was like, oh, these are going to smash. I was like, I'm going to get some fries. I'm going to get some chicken tenders. I'm going to really enjoy. Nope. No. The chicken tenders tasted horrible. I don't know. The breading did not adhere to the chicken tender. There was no binder of any kind to speak of. Meredith was laughing at me every time I picked up a chicken tender, and all the breading
all
just
fell
fell
apart.
off. Yeah, it just fell off. So you're left holding just a raw,
bare
well,
naked
not raw, but
chicken.
a bare naked cooked piece of boiled chicken, basically. And you're like, oh, okay, this has completely gone sideways at this point. So it was sad. And like Paul was saying, you're paying. I paid $32.
30, yeah.
$32. I mean, I bought a bottle of water, so 5 of that was the bottle of water. But $32 total for a bottle of water, 3 chicken tenders that had no bread on them, and fries. Fries were good. Fries are fine. Hard to mess up. Just frozen fries out of a bag with some seasoning on top, right? But the chicken tenders were really poor. So that was my bad experience
It
with
was
that.
so bad that you were like, they literally don't even have flavor. It was so bad that I dug in my purse and I found a pepper packet that I'd taken off a table in Austria, that they had like these little pepper packets, and you use a pepper packet from Austria at the COTA track to try to give your chicken some flavor. And you were like, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, they were
no
choice.
bland as hell.
I
Yeah.
will tell you that it like absolutely nothing in comparison to like if we were to go like to the main grandstand concessions and get chicken strips there. Again, a place that they are set up, they are concessions, they have all the equipment, they're a little bit more used to it. Those chicken strips, we had them at NASCAR. My friend Aaron was like talking about the COTA chicken strips. Let's be very clear. COTA chicken strips that bang are the ones that are at the main grandstand concessions that are permanent concessions, not the ones that are out amongst the people. Okay. So it's very important to distinguish. I think I peaked too soon on food. My Friday quesadilla out at the ranch from the food truck out there was money.
Yeah, the food trucks were
Absolutely
great.
amazing.
Everything I got from the
So
food
I
trucks,
think when Joe
great.
went to that one on Saturday, I think he was thinking it was going to be the same type of quesadilla that we got over at the ranch. And I will say, I think those Patron margaritas had helped a lot in my evaluation of the decentness of the quesadilla, but it was good. A lot of meat, a lot of cheese, really good flavor, good dipping sauces. So the Saturday quesadilla did not hit. I don't even know that I ate on Sunday. I have no idea. Couldn't tell you. If I did, I don't recall it. Any other thoughts on food and drink? I'll say in terms of pricing, having been at COTA in years past, drinks were definitely priced more reasonably than they were in years past. It was nice seeing the price points come down on that stuff. So I was really appreciative of that. Like in the past, like waters were like $8 to $10. Beers were for a beer, you were looking at 15 for a regular beer, 20 for like a specialty beer. I think ranch waters were like 18 last year. So I feel like prices did come down a little bit on drink. Food, I feel like you're ballparking 24 to 32 on anything out there.
Yeah, which is what I expected food price wise. Like you go to any big event, like it's just kind of you're at the mercy of the going rate, right? But my whole deal is if I'm gonna spend money on food, I want it to at least be edible. I'm not expecting Michelin quality out of getting food from a tent, but I am expecting something that at least is a
Tastes
5 or
good.
6. Yeah, 5 or 6 out of 10. I'm not looking for special, but anything but what I got.
And honestly, like convenience store food would have even been and I'm not even talking like Buc-ee's level. Like that's different. Like I'm talking full, just like regular 7-Eleven gas station food was higher quality than some of the stuff we got out there. But so
I'd have crushed some hot dogs if I had access to some glizzies. I'd have smoked them. Damn. I don't even know what I was going to say. I was going to hammer down on some glizzies, man. Anything that the chicken tenders.
I would have been smoking down some glizzies for sure. No doubt about it. Okay, any other closing thoughts on food and drink?
No, just with the food. Drinks?
Yeah.
Thumbs up on drinks.
Paul did allude to it. There are water stations around. Yes, the lines get long, but like that water is warm. I made some videos about it before COTA, but like if you're thinking about going to COTA, yes, you can refill your water bottle, but like you have to do the coin toss. Would you rather pay $5 for a cold water, or are you fine waiting in a line to get very warm water, but it's free? So just caveat there to the audience.
And then I know some people were talking online, some places even ran out of water to fill up your water bottle. So
I saw that too, and I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, I can only speak to what we saw. I never filled up mine. Josh did, so I kind of just, what he was saying. Anywhere that he went to fill up his water bottle, there was always water there.
Joe was filling up his empty ranch water cans at one point.
Hey, whatever works.
That is a different kind of ranch water.
Yeah, that's down pretty bad. I saw him do it. I was like, man, you all right there? And he was just like, I gotta have something. I was like, okay, pal, you do what you gotta do. You survive out here.
He was doing his best to stay vertical. I'm proud of him. Okay, so we will move to our next topic, which is thinking just about like track layout in general, getting around, like viewing spots, kind of stuff like that. And so, yeah, open thoughts. I mean, obviously it's a track I know well, so I kind of knew what to expect. What were y'all's thoughts on the track layouts, the kind of different areas, kind of different fan zones? What were your thoughts?
Since I've never been there before, I didn't really know what to expect. I know the week leading up to it, everybody was talking about you're going to be walking a lot. I was not prepared for how enormous that place is and how much there really is. You and your husband were definitely a big help navigating where to go, because had it just been Josh and I there our first time together, it would have been overwhelming and we would have maybe not have had the best spots to view the race. But if you don't know what you're doing and nobody is really there to guide you, it's more figured out as you go, and you kind of tend to follow the crowd unless like you and your husband kind of know nooks and crannies where not a lot of people tend to go. I can see how it could have been a disaster if it was your first time going and you don't know what's happening. Because even talking to other people on that Sunday after the race, letting traffic kind of die down, they couldn't see much. They were unhappy with some of the things, and yeah, it can get a little overwhelming if you don't know what you're doing.
What were your thoughts, Josh?
Yeah, I kind of expected having to walk a lot, right? But I honestly wasn't too shocked by the walking. Like it didn't seem to be like overly long distances to get from like one fan zone to the next. Like they seemed to be spaced out decently to where you could get to one to the other pretty well. I was honestly impressed with how many fan zones there were. Like there's different, and each one had their own kind of theming and their own events that were going on. Each one had bands, each one had bars, each one had TV screens. Like there was always something going on different at each one of them. So I was fairly impressed with just the accessibility as far as getting from one place to the next. I didn't feel like we got into like a big crowd push where it was like, we're at the mercy of just everyone. We were able to walk pretty freely between places without really getting held up or hindered. So it was pretty much just at your own mercy. As fast as you wanted to walk is how quick you could get somewhere. So I was pretty impressed that as much stuff as they had, as easy as it was to get to, I was mildly impressed with that.
Yeah, agreed. I think, Paul, to your point, it is such a huge campus and it can be really overwhelming. And that's why the first year, the first 2 years, first 2 years we went, that's why we did a seat instead of doing GA. We did turn 15 grandstands both first 2 years that we went. And I was like, I love turn 15. I love it. I see them ripping down the straight, come into the S's, like, so fun. But I now love the GA experience because of what you said, Josh. There are so many different unique little fan zones, unique little pockets. And I feel like with the GA ticket, you get to move around and see all those things. And you can kind of pick and choose where you want to watch from based on the time of day, based on what events going on track. You get to move around. Like, I loved our spot on Saturday being up where we did. We wanted to be over by the S's, kind of over towards turn 6. We had good shade. We had live music. Like, so it was just fun to experience that. Whereas, on the other side of the track, they had like an EDM DJ at one of those spots, and so you kind of just get to pick and choose. I think the COTA app was really helpful for me this year, just in being able to keep up with the schedule, see what was happening where and when. It was even fun to, like, the band that we listened to on Saturday that was like banging out some Tejano bangers. Like, I was like, yes, I actually went and followed them on TikTok and it was so fun. Like, they're really cool and they do a lot of stuff here in Houston. I don't know. So I enjoyed that part of it. I will say I saw one girl's video that in her like COTA review that I was like, yeah, that's actually a good point to touch on. A lot of people don't realize that amphitheater is open seating. So when they have, the driver appearances, team appearances, special guests, all that stuff, even the seats are up for grabs. It's fun, first come, first serve. But a lot of people thought like, oh, I have to sit on the lawn, or like I have to have a certain type of ticket to go stand right down in front of the stage. So I thought that one was a good tip to share, that the amphitheater is wide open. And if there's a driver appearance that you really want to see, if you're cool with missing an event on track, you can leave and go get there earlier so you can have one of the guaranteed seats or be up front right under the stage like we were to see a couple of people. So I thought I'd share that one. But yeah, I mean, I love it. It's my favorite. I think, like, I can't imagine doing general admission at Miami where that campus is also massive, but like, because it's not a set track, you don't necessarily have the same vantage points. But like, I think COTA, if you're trying to go to a race and you want to maximize a general admission experience, I do think COTA is an absolutely incredible one to maximize all that the campus has to offer for the reasons we've all highlighted. Any other closing thoughts on track layout, things like that?
The other thing for me, and might not be a big thing to most, it seemed like everywhere we went, there was a bathroom within a pretty short distance, which is, especially if you're going to be there all day on a hot day, drinking a lot of water, drinking a lot of liquid in general, whatever that may be. It seemed to be like you didn't have to go very far to find a bathroom. Well,
Right.
Whether it be an established bathroom or a porta potty, there seemed to be one at every turn, which was good. And seemingly the lines weren't awful. I mean, they were
Right.
long lines, but at least for the men's side of things, they all seemed to move pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was going to say
And
that.
I gotta tell you, not a single time did I find a porta potty out of toilet paper. Not once.
No.
I never waited for a line at any of the porta potties. The only place I waited in
Me either.
line was underneath the main grandstand at one point in time.
Yeah, that's when I was
That was
dying.
yeah.
I should have gone potty before we left the house. I didn't, and I was dying to find one. Note to self: go potty before you leave the house.
Hey, I had bags. I was ready. That
Listen,
is another tip, though. Like, people talk about the traffic and like how crazy it was or whatever. Like, I think like that's an important one to talk on when you're talking about like being around the track, getting around the track. If you're going to rent a car and drive, like if you're traveling in, I recommend just staying at a hotel and doing the shuttle experience. But if you're local and you're driving in, or you're going to rent a car and you want to do that, people talk about the Lot F traffic and how bad it is to get in and out of. Last year, it took us 2.5 hours to get out of Lot F. We left right when the race finished. This year, every single day, we all waited, Friday and Saturday, we maybe waited 30 minutes on Friday, an hour Saturday. And then how long do y'all think we hung out on after the race on Sunday?
I think maybe an hour.
Yeah, hour and a
Maybe
half,
an
maybe.
hour?
Yeah, the longest.
I mean, waiting a little bit to let that traffic clear goes a long way. Stay, hang out, go listen to the concerts. Every single night they have a concert after the racing events. Go listen to the concert, let traffic die down. But if you are going to expect traffic. I mean, like, expect, even if your phone, when you're leaving your hotel or your Airbnb, says 35 minutes of traffic, it's lying. It
Yeah.
is lying. It is gonna be hour and a half ish each way. So, take waters in the car with you to make sure you're hydrated. But also, ladies, like, we can't hop out of the car and go jump behind a bush and pee. And there's not a lot of bushes out there. This is the desert, okay? So make sure that, like, just if you're gonna be in a car, go on Amazon, buy the little bags that you can pee in the car in. I have been in desperate times. My friend Whitney Booza held my hands so that I could literally lean and pee in my car. So, girls, you've been forewarned.
Yeah.
Traffic was not as bad this year, though. So that was nice.
Yeah, I didn't have too much issues with traffic. Like I said, the smart thing is definitely hang around the track and let kind of the majority of the traffic die down. Don't rush, don't bum rush the exit like everyone else does.
Well, and like we were standing Sunday after the concert, we were standing at the bar at the top of the amphitheater in the shade, talking to cool people,
Yeah.
heard the Turnpike Troubadours. We didn't have to even go sit down and be in the sun. We were in the shade, hanging out, standing. And man, it made the time fly. I thought that was fantastic.
And then on Saturday, after everything happened, after all the events happened, everybody cleared out. We walked to the grandstand, sat down, and could kind of get a peek at what the garages were doing, and it was just kind of cool to see that. So the grandstands are open to people. You don't need a ticket after all the events. You can just go hang out there, and I think a lot of people don't really know that. So that's another little tidbit of information for people.
Yeah, that was one of the highlights of the weekend, I thought, was just being able to sit there and look at the paddock. And, it's obviously not a view that you really get in GA. So that was like by experience of being able to see the paddock. And I mean, like Paul was saying, this is after qualifying on Saturday. So, I mean, all the cars were in Parc Ferme, but they were still doing their checks and going through all the components, pre-race. So you got to see a lot of movement down there, and you got to hear the cars fire up in the garages, and it was great experience to go just hang out there for a few minutes and sit down and enjoy it.
Yeah, kick your feet up. I also think like last year when we went and did that, I had no idea that you could just go down into the grandstands. You go down, look into the garages, and I think that's so cool. And also, like, if you're thinking about making a trip, making an experience out of this, like the photos at the grandstand, like I love the photo of us at the grandstand. It's so good. And it's such an iconic thing coming down that straight, seeing Big Red, seeing the big Texas flag, seeing the little scoreboard that, like, it's just such an iconic shot. And we have the other angle, we got that angle. So it's just a really cool picture spot. So if you're going to wait out traffic, go check out the main grandstands in the evening. It's really cool spot to hang out, and it's in the shade. So if the sun beat down on you all weekend, which it was hot, it wasn't as hot as the last few years, which I was really grateful for. But like, if you're not used to that kind of heat, I know it was a lot for some people. I was prepared for it, though. I think it was a little dustier than the last few years just because we've been in such a bad drought.
That's
So
to
I
me the
think
thing that got to me the
a
most.
lot of people.
I didn't mind the heat as much as that dust.
Yeah.
Oh man,
What got in there.
Yeah, it was
a
all
lot
over
of
your
coughing.
teeth. It was rough.
It's like
Yeah.
fine powdery too. It's like it's not
Yes.
just dirt blowing around that you're used to. Maybe in other parts of the country, it's like a fine. It's
Fine.
it's grainy. It's
In
gritty.
every crevice.
It's like sand, but a little finer. So it definitely gets places that you don't want it to be.
My dress from Sunday that I wore, that white chili pepper dress, it's no longer white.
Oof.
I mean, and I cleaned it with OxyClean. No, it is just a beige dress now.
Yeah, so I on Friday, so Saturday I wore the new shirt, the COTA one I bought.
Yeah.
The collar is dark,
Yeah,
and I've already
stained.
washed it 2 or 3 times, and it's like you can't get that crap off. It's stuck in there.
It's like the dirt down here has a lot of clay and limestone in it, and so it really does just stain. It's just like you could put stain remover, OxyClean. Like it's like when I took my dress off on Sunday, I was like, oh, I'm a dirty. I need a bath. But it's like that is just literally what's in the dirt here.
Yeah. So
Okay, well, let's shift to our next one, which is merch pricing.
yeah, this is something I'm very passionate about, but I'm gonna let Josh go first on this one. Because I think Josh and I had a long talk on the way to the car Sunday after the race.
Yeah, so I'd seen, social media posts from other races and seen the merch prices, right? So it wasn't like a shock walking in and seeing, a team merch top going for $150 plus, right? The Ferrari tops were going for like 190. Red Bull was down in 150. So it was just expected. But what surprised me and what I think the conversation kind of will go to is on Sunday, race day, right? You would expect the largest crowd of the weekend, like day by day on a Sunday, just because of it's the main event. They had all the merchandise starting first thing in the morning drop down by 30% across the board. Everything was 30% off on Sunday. So my thought is, well, if they already know it's already marked up versus what you can buy online, and they know that, which is, I get it, it's in person. You may pay a premium to have it in person, but it seems significant. It's marked up almost 100% in some cases. And
Yeah.
then the 30% drop after that, someone's just like, okay, this is, it was almost like a little slap in the face. Like, we know it's expensive. We know it's more expensive than what you can buy it online. Here's this little carrot that we're going to dangle in front of you. Oh, look, it's on sale today. Buy some. I don't know. It was, especially because it's so marked up versus online.
Yeah.
It's not like it's $10 or $15 as a premium for being in person and being like at an event. It's a hefty markup. And I was talking to Joe about it. I've been to several PGA Tour events, which I would say is like one of the closest similarities to a race that I can think of as far as like your general admission. You're walking around, you're outside. It's a a premium sport. It's golf. It's an expensive sport, right? You can go in there and you can buy a branded with whatever tournament or golf course, whatever the merchandise is, for the exact same price as you can buy it online. You can go buy a Peter Millar
They're not
polo.
upcharging.
They're not upcharging. It's the same price. And it even has a logo on it, which you can buy the shirt with no logos for the same price. So that was my comparison. And so I was just a little shocked at just how steep the markup was. And then the 30% drop on a Sunday was surprising.
This is where I was left disappointed. I had seen, because there's a gentleman on TikTok who's a photographer, and he follows F1, and he's always talking about the merch. So I wasn't necessarily shocked by it. I think I was shocked when I was there in person, because I wanted to buy a Ferrari shirt, and I walked in and it was 170 for the Ferrari shirt. I can buy it
Let me be
online.
clear, it's not even that price at the the flagship Ferrari store in Milan. It's not even that much there.
No, and I can go online right now and buy it for $102. So for in person, I'm spending an extra $70, $80 with tax. I don't want to say I was disappointed, but I was disappointed with how expensive everything is. Then I went into the COTA store. I bought 2 t-shirts, a hat, 2 pins, and a sticker for the same price I would have paid for one Ferrari shirt. And I was left disappointed because it feels like F1 is pushing the casual viewer and the casual fan away with pricing everything as expensive as it was. And in a time when they're trying to really bring in American fans and grow the American market, they're just pricing people out of it. I mean, how much did we spend on the tickets, plus the flight, plus the Airbnb, plus food, plus now you have to spend an extra $200 on your favorite driver's shirt? That's just outrageous. And I don't know if you guys notice this, 90% of the apparel that people were wearing are bootleg stuff that you picked up from Etsy or the TikTok shop that is not licensed. No team is making money off of this, and it's just
Right.
like this is what you're pushing people to go do. You're pushing them to go on Etsy and buy the mom and pop stuff that somebody's stamping with their Cricut at home. And it's just, I felt
Watch
this.
your mouth, Paul, from a girl who has a motorsport Etsy shop. Watch your mouth.
But you know what I mean. Like in a time when everybody's trying to capitalize on their image and likeness, you're forcing us to do this. And I was just left disappointed because it just, like I said, it seems like F1 is really, they don't care about the casual viewer. It always is, and I guess I should have known this going into it. It always is, and it always will be a rich person sport, and just a playground for the rich and famous to strut their stuff.
I think that there are 2 really important things that I would like to note after listening to y'all's reflections. Number 1, you don't have to buy that shit. Ever. Not online for 102, not online for 170. Owning the merch doesn't make you the fan. And I think the further I've gotten into being an F1 fan, the more that I feel that way. Like half the time, I'm buying stuff that I feel better in, because like the pieces that I have bought that are licensed F1 pieces, oftentimes they get here and I'm like, why did I buy that? It's itchy, it's uncomfortable, it doesn't fit right. Like, I'd rather buy a Comfort Colors tee off Etsy because I know those shirts are soft as shit. I'm gonna like it. I know it's gonna fit me. So I think like the first thing is like don't feel pressured like you have to buy licensed team merch to be a true fan. Like, it doesn't make you a fan. If you want to buy it though, buy it, But like, I've also learned that there's always going to be a markup at the race. If it's your first race, you don't know that. So my first race going in, like Joe and I told y'all about it. Like, we always joke about it, cost per wear, because I still wear my Danny Rick McLaren hat that I bought at my first race I went to in 2021. So it's like my cost per wear has gone significantly down. I think I paid like $70 for that hat, that now that same McLaren hat would be $140, right? Because of how McLaren's doing right now. Joe's Mercedes hat, he bought it when Mercedes was peaking and it was $90 back then. And that same hat, So I think those are my 2 points. Number one, you don't have to buy licensed F1 team merch to be a fan. But number two, if you do want to buy it, but for the experience of being there, buying it, like, if you're cool with that and your cost per wear is going to be good because you're going to have that piece of merch forever, then go for it. Don't let anyone else's opinions do that. But also just do a quick little research. If you want to buy it because you're like, oh, this is my first race, I want to remember what I bought at my first race, go for it. Do it. But do a quick little Google search on the phone. And if you're cool with, hey, I can order it right now while I'm at the race and it'll be there when I get home, then you can do that too. So just do whatever you want, be whatever you want as a fan, wear whatever merch you want to wear your Etsy, get a t-shirt, color on it with Sharpie, do whatever you want. Just don't boo other fans. Don't boo other drivers.
No, and I'm not saying you need to buy the F1 merch official stuff to be a fan. That's not what I'm saying. But
No, I know that. I'm just saying, like, I think a lot of fans feel like they have to. Like, I think a lot of fans feel like, well, if I don't, then like, how are they going to know what team I rep? Or like, oh, I'm going to get shit for, not being a good enough fan. Like, I do think there is a lot of that hate online of like, oh, you're a real fan, but you don't even have the real merch,
yeah,
I think there is a lot of that.
And I think I can speak with the three of us. Fuck those people. We don't need that kind of attitude.
There's a reason that when I upload our videos to YouTube, I put not for kids. This right here, prime example.
Yeah, no, you get what you get, and you can get what you can afford, and it is what it is. Everybody's got a different budget. My big issue is just it feels like they price out the casual fan.
Oh, 100%.
That's just, to me, the biggest thing. And especially when other racing series embrace the casual fan and make it a better experience for the casual fan, F1 really pushing them away, and it's all about the money for them.
Any other closing thoughts on merch?
The rent is too damn high. It's just too expensive.
Okay, well, that will bring us to our last topic, which is just a general summary about like costs. Like, overall, do you feel like what you paid for the weekend, and like, I'm sure like if we were to like run it all up, I didn't do the math. I know we joked about Paul bringing his bank statements, but like if I just do some general, like I was going to pull up the split wise.
Oof.
Okay, so our tickets were what? About $3.
Nice.
Sorry. It'll get squared up. Okay, so let's just talk about like tickets. So we paid about $350 for our tickets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so the house was right at $1,400, which, by the way, like, if you can find people to go with, to split a house with, like, that's the way to go. So our house was $350 a person. We had a house that was 25-30 minutes from the track, had a sick pool, a hot tub, the whole shebang. We had a cool closed-in patio. We each had our own room. Like, so I think like if you are in a situation where you can meet people and split and do an Airbnb, like hotel rooms are insane per night. Like when Joe and I were looking at going last year, and we didn't have friends that were for sure if they were going with us or not. Hotel rooms were like $500 and $600 a night at a minimum for a crappy like Super 8. So $350 a person for our Airbnb, $350 a person for tickets for the full weekend, right? Okay, so we're at, $700 right there. Our parking pass was about, it was $350, so we'll call it, $100 per person roughly. And then what were y'all's flights? And we paid the parking pass because I was driving, so it was kind of like, we didn't have to worry about the transportation with that.
I used my credit card points for flights, so I mean, it wasn't technically free, but I mean, I didn't spend any real money on any.
Okay, sorry, I was like looking, like we weren't predicted to get a storm, and it was like looking dark all of a sudden. Now it's pouring rain.
Yeah, so I didn't really technically spend anything on flights. Josh, how much was your flight?
I want to say it had to have been around 350. I'll try to pull it
Yeah.
up in the next few minutes, but I want to say it was around that like 300 to 350 mark.
Okay, and then like looking at like, and we all paid for our own dinners on Friday, which was what, like $60?
Something like that, give or
Yeah.
take.
Yeah, it was like 60, and we like went ham at dinner on Friday. Like,
I mean, I did not leave hungry.
yeah, we didn't leave hungry, and we didn't leave any margaritas undrank. Okay,
Those are
and then
really
we
good, by
went.
the way. Super good.
Huckleberry Margs are
They were good.
money.
Very good.
Absolute money. I mean, and like we had a lot of drinks. We had a lot of rounds of drinks out there. And I mean, so all in all, I would say, you know, my total not having airfare was probably right around 800, 900. So let's call it with airfare, maybe around 1200 to be fair, if you were to pay for airfare. Do you feel like the weekend experience you got is worth the $1,200?
Josh, take it away.
Yeah, I think so. I think that I'll break it down bit by bit. Airbnb, fantastic value, right?
Thumbs up.
You really can't beat that. Having access to the pool, we had a hot tub. My bed was a little uncomfortable, but like I'm not going to sit here and bitch about it.
Can we use hot tub in quotation marks because it was not hot?
It was hot on
It was
Saturday.
hot Friday.
Friday night we got in there.
Friday and Saturday, yeah.
Yeah,
It was
I
cold
care more about the
Sunday.
pool being ice cold for my little cankles.
Yeah,
Oh,
pool was
yeah.
great. Getting in the pool after being out in the sun all day was just fantastic. No, having an Airbnb was great. I would much prefer, if you're going to be somewhere for a weekend, I prefer to have somewhere like that where you have a little bit of space to stretch out versus a hotel, personally. So loved it. That was a great value. No complaints on that. Flights are flights. Can't do anything about them. It is what, if you want to fly somewhere,
Yeah.
you pay the price that it is to fly that day. So can't complain about the flights. Love Airbnb. I thought, honestly, 3 days at an event for what we end up paying for what's the Costco cost on those tickets for the GA tickets?
$350.
Like 350.
So you're
Yeah.
looking at what, $100 a day, 100 some odd bucks a day for an event. You can't. What other event are you going to go do that take? It's an all day affair that you can do
Right.
for that price, right? So I don't really think that that's too bad either. You expect to pay for the drinks. I thought the drink prices were reasonable, as compared to like going
Cheaper
to
than a Houston Texans football game.
That's what I was going to say. My benchmark is like going to Neyland Stadium for a Tennessee football game, or somewhere in Nashville, or that's what I would expect to pay for drinks. Food, depending on where you went, could have been a little high. I thought the food trucks were a little better priced. I mean, I paid significantly less for my really good quesadilla from the food truck than I did for my crappy chicken strips. So, depends on, you can choose to buy food where you want to or whatever. That's
You
subjective.
can also take food in. Like if you want to like throw
Yeah.
some Uncrustables and jerky in your bag, like
Yeah.
go for it. Yeah, they weren't. I mean, I saw people taking McDonald's in their bags.
Yeah, and that's something I would say for the next time is I almost would just suck it up and carry a little bit bigger of a bag and have some snacks and have some more just provisions on hand as opposed to buying stuff from the trucks like that. Threw that one out, the old vocabulary. So I would say,
Loved it.
all in all, I would say that I thought that the value was fine. I had no complaints about what I spent or how much things just happened to cost while we were there. It was what I expected. I didn't I can sit here and complain about merch. I didn't go buy any. I didn't go buy the Ferrari top. That wasn't what I wanted to spend my money on. I wanted to spend my money on other parts of the weekend and having a good time. And so it's up to you. If you want to go to the weekend and everybody will spend their money in different ways. Some people don't drink, so they'll spend their money that we spend on alcohol. They may spend that somewhere else. Or some people may not eat at the track. They may bring their own food and they can spend that money on something else. So it's completely
there are
of what you
definitely
make
ways
it.
to
Yeah,
cut costs.
100% are. But as far as like our lodging, airfare, price for the general admission ticket, no complaints at all. I think that's very reasonable for a full weekend of doing anything. What are you going to do? Traveling somewhere else for a full weekend and staying for 3 nights? Like, you try to find another event that you can do for that price. I think it'd be hard pressed to.
When it comes to money, I knew I was going to spend a lot. Everything outside the track, going out to the fancy restaurant, the breakfast spots, everything was reasonably priced. I know everybody talks about how expensive Austin is, and maybe it is to live there, but food-wise, it wasn't bad. I mean, everything was reasonably priced. Nothing shocked me. At the event, yes, you have to understand that there's a markup on a lot of things. Food's going to be more expensive. Drinks are going to be more expensive. Sorry, I'm just keep coughing up that Austin fucking dirt. God, that is
Austin
awful.
dirt.
That Austin dirt. I think, and If you're looking at it just strictly from an F1 lens, I think you get your money's worth for what you spent. I think if you're looking at it from a motorsport point of view, there's other series that gives you more money, more value for your money. And unless it's I'm going to preface this by saying I'm always going to be an F1 fan. I'm always going to turn it on. It's the reason the three of us are here talking. Unless it's a race that I have to go see, like Silverstone, Japan, Mexico, those are some of the ones I have to go see. I don't think I'm going to jump at the bit to go back to another one anytime soon. Just because I feel like I can spend less money and get more fun at an IndyCar race than I did an F1 race, just because IndyCar is much more accessible. For $400, I got tickets to a seat. I got paddock passes. I got to be in, right there at the garage watching them work on Pato's car. You don't get that kind of access in F1. You can, but just add a shit ton more zeros at the end of it. So, like I said, unless it's a track I have to be, and like, man, it's in the cards to go to Silverstone this year. Fuck yeah, let's do it. But it's not something that I'm going to like budget. Okay, next year I have to go to this F1 race. If it happens to show up, great. And if it doesn't, it doesn't happen. But bet your ass that I'm already booking at what Indy races I want to go to, just because I had so much more fun at an IndyCar race.
Yeah. And I think it kind of goes back to like what you said. It's about whatever you like about it. Like whereas like that's your viewpoint on it of like I've been to Indy races. I'm going to an Indy race in March. Like I had a lot of fun at the IndyCar race, and there's definitely more value for your money. But because Formula One is my number one, like I would rather spend my money and go have maybe less of an experience to be able to go and experience more Formula One tracks. Like for me, I'm knocking all them bitches off my bucket list. Like you have like your big three. Like I've already hit my big tracks that I want to go to. So it's kind of like Joe has ones that we want to knock down, right? Like I want to do Mexico City really bad. I would love to do Brazil. We're doing Vegas this year. Joe's Suzuka is number one now that we knocked Silverstone off. So like I will continue to knock tracks off my bucket list because Formula One is my number one. As I plan my races I'm going to for the following year, I prioritize F1 and then fill in the other races based on where my budget is. And like now that I've been to an IndyCar race, I loved it. It was such a phenomenal experience. But like for me now, I'm like, I'd rather go to one IndyCar race a year and do like I did at Laguna Seca and get the VIP tickets and have the hospitality, which was $500 for that ticket. Okay. Mine was $500. It was $535 per person for the weekend at Laguna Seca for the full weekend VIP, your own shuttle service, food and drink included. They drive you around the track, so like all the stuff you got. But, I had to plan a trip to California to do that. So mine is like, I'd rather plan my F1 stuff first, pick one Indy race to go to, do it right. Because like not every Indy race is as affordable as the race you went to. Like the IndyCar Arlington, my general admission ticket for the weekend in Arlington was like $300. Okay, so they're equating it to F1, and it's because it's Jerry World, it's Dallas, but I do think it is just about like pick whatever you like the most and then plan a trip around it. IndyCar, if you're looking to like get into an intro of like I haven't been to a race, I kind of agree with Paul. Like maybe go to an IndyCar race first, do an experience there, see what you get and see what you think to see if you think it would be worth it to spend the money on one if you're not sure whether or not F1 is your number one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get it. The Indy 500 is going to be more expensive than a Nashville race.
Oh,
So
yeah. I mean, but this is Arlington.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, but you're also paying for Jerry World. That's why you get, that's why it's more money.
Yeah, but not everywhere. Like it's not like a set track. Like it's like I'm going to be sitting in pop-up bleachers the same way people in Vegas are, like it's not like Arlington's a hot destination. Like unless you're going into AT&T Stadium, like that's all there is. Like it's just parking lots other than that in the middle of rural Arlington, Texas. Not rural, it's city, but
yeah. But I definitely want to check out other motorsport series. I want to see what NASCAR has to offer. You kept talking all weekend about WEC at COTA. Yeah. I think that would be a lot of fun, especially because we're starting to kind of get into WEC and I'm starting to learn a little bit about it.
Worth every bit of the dough. But like that's one because it is an endurance race. I mean, like people talked about like their betrayal list with COTA being so hot, being out there all day. Yeah, okay, do that shit with a 6-hour race.
Sure.
Yeah, it's
See,
like, no,
so
that's worth it, and that's the hottest time of year. That hospitality ticket is worth every damn penny. Lone Star Le Mans Spirit Club, the Le Mans Spirit Club, worth every penny at COTA. I'd pay that money every time.
yeah, so that was what I was going to piggyback, Paul. Is like, yes, there's other racing series, right? So for me, what I feel like I missed out on, and would be my complaint, and this is going to be most motorsport series, right, is you're forced into viewing it from one perspective for a majority of the race, especially Formula One being only 90 minutes long, right? So unless you are willing to miss out on some of the action or compromise on being able to keep up, like we were at a spot where we had access to a TV screen, we had access to watching a good portion of the race on track. But if you were willing to compromise on not being able to see it on TV, like you could have traveled around other areas and maybe seen some other parts of it. So you're almost kind of stuck where you're at. And if we had a good spot, fortunately, it was accessible to drinks and bathrooms and food and everything that we could have wanted right in that spot. But now what I would like to see is something like an endurance race where I would have the opportunity to see it from one area, but then have the ability to move to other corners to see it from other perspectives and have, maybe a little bit more time with cars on track to experience over a longer period of time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to, maybe even try out doing like the, 24 Daytona, the Rolex, or doing like Lone Star Le Mans, just something like that where I wouldn't feel guilty about, spending 15 minutes walking somewhere. And, I don't want to miss, that'd be a quarter of a race sometimes. So
Right.
I don't want to miss out on a quarter of a race walking somewhere. So going somewhere that I could spend, like a 6-hour race somewhere or a 24-hour race where you have plenty of opportunity to move where you want to move without compromising on missing out on some action. So that would be my next bit that I would like to do.
Yeah. I think, like the nice thing about COTA is that it's a set track. There's so many other forms of racing. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, if you want to come to COTA, but you're like, the Formula One's a little high and pricey, like, look at some of those other events throughout the year. Like, I think there are so many other great racing events. I go out to COTA pretty much any chance I get. Like, I was already looking at March. I'm like, wow, I've got NASCAR and MotoGP. It's going to be so, like, I'm like, March is going to be insane for me with racing because it's like IndyCar, NASCAR, MotoGP, all in Texas in the same month. It's going to be mayhem. They've also just got, like, COTA has other racing series that are not like broadcast racing series that are more local racing series throughout the year too. Like, so maybe if you want to come to COTA and check it out for one of those type series and weekends, they do a ton of fun stuff too. But look at any track that you're planning to go to. Look at other racing series. Look at other racing series that are close to you in general. If you're like, yeah, I'm not sure if I'd even enjoy going to a race live. I know so many people who talk about how much they actually hate watching racing live because then you don't get to see the other stuff. You have to like pull up your phone and watch it. So there's just a little bit of something for everybody at racing, but it's not for everyone.
No, and I think racing live, you lose a lot. I mean, you take for granted what the TV has to offer when you're sitting there, you get all the views. But I think for me, especially now going to 2 races, there's just so much more to do live. And you see people, you talk to people, different noises, different sounds is what makes things fun for me.
I thought you said different noses, different sounds. I was like, you mean different noses, different smells?
No, just all the different things that it's got to offer.
Yeah. Well, y'all know me. I'm a diehard COTA girl. I'm a girl that goes to COTA every year. Like, I love it. It's like, it feels like my home race. So for me, I'm like, it's a track I know well. It's comfortable for me. It's like, unless there's another conflict or unless there's a year where I'm like, I'm definitely going to Mexico City, so I won't go to COTA to like reserve my October bank account balance. I'll be at COTA pretty much every year unless there's a conflict or something. But, that's my bread and butter. I do think it's worth the value for me, especially being able to just drive over and stuff. But like also, like if Joe and I weren't splitting a house with people, it probably wouldn't be as economical. We've been lucky to have friends every year to go with and split houses with and stuff. So it definitely does impact it, but I would definitely just meet people on the internet. I'd be like, girls across the grid. So any final thoughts, closing thoughts on COTA?
Josh?
I had a blast. That was my first experience at a live race, and I had a blast. It was so much fun hanging out with you guys. Obviously, meeting Meredith for the first time and really getting to just hang out and do whatever for. This was so much fun. I had a great time. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Had a blast. I'm looking forward to doing something again, whether it be Formula One or another category.
IndyCar.
I was leaning more towards WEC, but whatever, that's fine.
Sorry, that Austin dust is just still in the lungs.
You have to get that out. It's getting a little
we're
over
trying,
the top.
bud. We're trying.
But I think
What
that
about
was
you,
it.
Paul?
That's my thoughts.
Closing thoughts?
I know I was pretty negative in the last thing I talked about. All in all, I had a great time. It's an adventure. It's an experience. It's something I'm always going to remember. We have pictures. We have videos. I was able to save my wristband without ruining it. It took a lot because that little black thing,
Finagling.
God, that thing is on there tight. All in all, I had an amazing time. If it's in the cards for us to do it again next year and the three of us can get together, or we do something again with a different motorsport series, I'm going to jump the bit. The three of us together in the same place was truly a lot of fun. So yes, all my bitching aside, I had a great time. And
Good.
yeah, it was a great time. I'm glad we were all able to do this. I'm glad the podcast is moving in the right direction.
Can you imagine if it had gone bad?
I don't know how it could have gone bad. How could it have
I
gone
know,
bad?
but people when I tell people about us and about me joining you guys on the pod, people are mind boggled. They're like, you just met these boys on the internet. And I'm like, yeah, Paul reached out on social media and we just kind of I started listening and joined it for an episode and then we had fun. And then we were like, let's just keep this going. I describing it to people that we have a podcast when I'd never met you guys is such a, they can't imagine it. And then going into COTA weekend, people were like, what are you going to do if it's bad? Y'all, what if y'all meet and it's not awesome? And it was kind of the same thing with my friends, Aaron and Leah. We met at the COTA Tower at COTA last year at the F1 race and then exchanged numbers and talked every single day. And then we planned to go to NASCAR together this past March. And everybody kind of had the same thing of what if you see these people again and it's not the same, and it's and you'll actually don't vibe and don't get along. You've never hung out with these people. And I truly do believe the internet changes the way that you can meet people and have friendships and relationships. And I'm very, very grateful, very fortunate. And I had so much fun with you guys. Getting to meet you guys and take y'all to COTA was probably one of the highlights of my year. Doing that was just so fun. Being on the podcast with y'all is already such a highlight of my year, but actually getting to meet and see that it's just as much fun in person as it is on the internet. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought of a possibility of how it could have gone bad. I know Josh and we've gone along, we've hung out outside of work.
I could have seen somebody getting drunk and going on an adventure, An
adventure.
None of us got too crazy.
No, but I think, Meredith, you and I started talking, in March, and then you joined the podcast in April. We didn't buy the tickets till, June? So I think we talk every day, we exchange pictures, we kind of can gauge each other's vibe out. And at no point did I think we were going to have a bad time or it was going to suck or I was going to come back with regrets or fuck it, the podcast is over. We had an awful time. I that never crossed my mind.
The Apex podcast divorces.
Yeah, it's done. I think we had a great time. I think the three of us meshed so well because what I may lack in, you, Meredith, might have it, or Josh might have it. And I think that's what makes us perfect is, Meredith, you have this very outgoing personality that draws people in. Josh is very much the analytical guy who's a big fucking nerd and who can talk about that. And
he's our nerd.
And I'm just the idiot that tags along and is happy to be a part of it. So I think
you're the glue, Paul. You're the glue.
The glue guy.
Yeah, so I think the three of us really mesh and really work well together, and I can't wait to see what this podcast can do in the future. And I know when we were handing out stickers and talking to people, I saw a lot of people grab their phones right away and scan that QR code, and I'm having a great time. 1 year has been a blast.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun and many more good times to come. So with that, we will wrap up. We will see you guys next week. We will talk all things Brazil, get ready to make our Brazil predictions, but y'all enjoy it. Let us know your thoughts on COTA. Let us know if there's anything that you experienced that maybe we didn't. Drop us a comment, send us a message on social media, and we'd love to share that with anybody else. If there's any other tips or anything that maybe we didn't talk about that you think would be helpful for listeners or people watching. So with that, we'll close out, and I hope y'all have an awesome rest of your week. Thanks, everybody.
See you
Later, guys.